So USPSA is back on. I'm shooting a match tomorrow with my open gun. I do have nationals in June, but I'll be honest, I kind of want to just rip some rounds with my open gun, get some fun in. So I'm going to go over kind of what I do before a match. I've got this whole mission briefing, mission planning thing like hammered into my head. So I take everything as kind of a checklist, if you will. So first thing I'm going to do is I lay all my equipment out that I'm going to take, kind of pack it, go through a packing list. I clean my mags, and I have the mag brush, but I also use kind of this homemade little thing where it's you take a microfiber towel, kind of hole in it, put a zip tie, and I found that this is probably the best way to clean my mags. Pull it through, and now I got a clean mag. So I only run MBX and gram followers. I don't tune mags. I don't want to learn how to tune mags. I throw money at MBX, and I have mags that run every time. So yay me. I found that their mags work every time. I've had STI mags, I've had Terran mags, like these work every single time. For me, I go through and I load my ammo the night prior. These are still pretty new springs, so I want them to get kind of squishy and get pressed. That way I can actually load them fully. I run the Ely 38 Super Comp. I don't reload just because I'm lazy and I don't want to buy a reloader. And I can give them money and they send me ammo. The 38 Super Comp, I don't really know what chrono is at out of my gun, but since it's USPSA sponsored ammo, I should make power factor, but I should probably chrono it before I go to nationals with these things. Then what I'm going to do is, even if I've oiled my gun, I just cleaned it yesterday, but I'm going to take it apart again. I'm going to re-oil everything, because you never know, oil might seep out the night prior. I like the Codaloo from Shooting Sports Innovations. I like a 0-weight oil or a 5-weight oil. I found that if I use the thicker oils like the Lucas and things like that, my gun would start to gum up. I'll make sure it has a nice, generous lubrication to it. And then probably around like my third stage, I re-oil it. Every 3 stages, plus or minus, I oil it. I want my gun to be pretty wet. I like it when it splashes a little bit. I don't want any failures in my gun. This ammo is actually kind of dirty for being so expensive, and I found after about 400 or 500 rounds, it'll gum up a little bit. I might have to tap the back of the slide to get it to go forward. So, I don't know, I just try to preempt that by getting everything nice and saucy. The other thing is parts. So I always bring a spare recoil spring. I've already got it pre-tuned for the gun. And then, as you can see, I have parts box, Sakai. It's got all my spare parts in here, spare extractor, firing pin, a hammer that's already fit the gun, just a couple pieces that, for whatever reason, if I need it, it's there. And then batteries for my optic. I'll bring 2 or 3 batteries, kind of since it's the same optic for my PCC, they're already in my gun bag. I just bring 2 to 3 of everything. I have a fucking wagon I drag with me, so I have a little bit of everything. I just say it now, like, I would rather have the part and have extras to be able to give it to somebody else so it doesn't ruin their shooting day than to not have it. It sucks when you drive an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, or a plane ride, you get to an event and then your gun breaks. That's why I'm looking at getting a spare one of these, but I mean, I haven't shot it enough to really justify getting a second open gun. Maybe at the end of this season, after I crush some, some level 2s and 3s of this thing, I'll get a second one, but so these things are kind of pricey, so just the sticker shot of getting 2 at the first, onset was a little bit too much for me, so I mean, if it was a PCC, yeah, that's only, a couple thousand, but this thing is like 3 PCCs. Then I just make sure I have everything laid out. I check my equipment, and I'll do some cognitive drills. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a sub 1 second draw guy. I'm probably a 1.1, 1.2 second draw guy. Whatever, I'm cool with that. I'm not crushing any classifiers, and I really don't give a shit. So from there, I'll do some dry firing at night, just some reloads, things like that, but I do step reloads. So as I get my weapon up, going up, I'm doing a reload. I'll do a drop turn step with the reload, because I mean, most of your stuff that you do for reloads isn't ever going to be a static, okay, I'm here, awesome. It's always going to be, I'm engaging this target, I'm going to reload to engage that target kind of thing. So I want to practice that motion. I want that to be unconscious confidence kind of thing. Then when I get to the range, most people are fucking shit hot, and then they get to the range and their first stage is garbage because they're still cold. So make your gun safe, go to that, safe table with no ammo, no magazines, whatever. Don't even worry about reloads. Just dry fire, and I do what's called eye movement drills. So I'll find 2 flowers on the berm. I'll draw and I'll go like, all right, dandelion, little white flower, whatever. But I'm doing gun, then I'm doing eyes, muzzle, target, eyes, muzzle, target, eyes, muzzle, target. And I also, I practice my hips too. Like, am I doing a hip lean or am I doing a turret? So am I doing here, am I doing here, and doing here? Am I leaning into it? Am I leaning into it? Just get that mind saucy. Like, get those neuromuscular connections burning up and making sure your brain's processing that. Then I'm that asshole that's doing karaoke's in the parking lot, man. I pick a rock in the parking lot. I kind of do about a 50% hit it, and I want to do my slowdown. So I'm here, I'm slowing down, I'm in my target. I mean, when you do your first stage and you haven't warmed up, like if you haven't done anything, do you expect to get 100% performance? Like my goal in my first stage is just 75% performance. I want 75% of what I think I can get, because the worst thing that you can do mentally is go in there thinking you're going to pull 100% out, shit the bed, you get like 45% of what you could actually do. Now you're pissed off for the whole match trying to catch up. And like level ones or locals, whatever you want to call them, those are testing grounds. Like if you're crushing, all your locals and you're not trying things, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Those level twos, threes, the nationals, things like that, that's where you're supposed to be like solidified notions of what you can do. I'm pushing the envelope every single local. Like if I get a mic and a local, who gives a shit? I'm testing a procedure, I'm testing an entry, I'm testing how fast I can push my envelope. It's like you do your live fire training, your dry fire training, you test those skills in your level one, and then you pull back just a little bit in your level twos and threes. So you should be running at 90-95% of your true capacity at your level twos and threes, and your level ones, you should be on the rails 110%, trying to see what your new comfortable is, your new normal. Because you're training, that's where you're bringing yourself up, right? Let's say I'm at 85%, I train, I get to 87%, now I'm at 89%, but if I'm still at level ones shooting at 85%, and I don't go outside my comfort zone, I'm not learning anything. I'm not proving my training. So I want to go there, I want to test things, I want to prove it, I want to get out there and make sure that I can do it. Conversely, we've had 3 months off. Your level one should be finding out your new normal. Like, don't be upset if you were at 95% and now you're at 75%. Well, you got some rust to knock off. Corona, fuck it. You got some Rona rust. But for me, that's what I'll be doing at this level one. Definitely videotape. Like, have somebody, I know it's awkward. Hey, man, you mind getting me to horizontal? Make sure you get my footwork. Videotaping yourself is the number one way to check your missing failures. For me, like I said, just personal experience. I'll have somebody videotape. I'll check it. I don't give a shit about my hits. I got my scores, whatever. But I look at my movement and then start to diagnose what you did in the stage. Like, hey, does this look good? Does this look bad? Do I think I could have entered this a little bit more aggressively? Whenever I started to do my decel, was my gun already up? And there's other people that teach that stuff. Like, I'm not going to try and say that I came up with any of this stuff. I mean, it's out there. It's a shooting sports thing. Read Ben Stoker's book or take a class with JJ. Like, they break this shit down a lot better than I can. I'm just, a dumb animal that does this stuff. But I can ramble on about that shit all day long. Just use your level ones as like your proving grounds. Write down your notes and then pick 2-3 things that you want to train in your live fire and dry fire training and focus on those 3 things. Once you master those 3 things, move on to the other 3 things. Don't try and fix everything at once. But it's kind of my long-winded thing that I do before